Yes. All right. Thank you very much, and good evening to everyone. And welcome to our Zoom line for the town of Fairmount Heights, the town meeting for the month of December, the year 2020. The date is December 16th, the year 2020. Thanks to everyone for logging on with us, and thanks for being safe and looking out for one another out here and there in these times that we're experiencing. So I wanted to just open up with a moment of silence. First of all, if everyone would please join me. And I want to do this in memory of Councilmember Wood Dotson's husband, who passed away, I think it was last Thursday, Mr. Waverly Alston. In memory of Waverly, would you please do a moment of silence? Thank you all very much. And thank you, Waverly, for your service to the town of Fairmount Heights. At this time, Mrs. Tucker, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Martin,
Present.
Councilmember Hargrove,
Here.
Councilmember Waiters. Councilmember Waiters. I see she's on the line.
She was on the line, yes. Okay.
Councilmember and Councilmember Morris, he'll be coming in later.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Councilmember Morris, okay.
All right. Hello, council member.
Hello, how are you?
Okay.
And Councilmember Hargrove has said Councilmember Morgan and Councilmember Uckandoo Walker don't have service at their home.
Okay.
And Councilmember Dotson is not present due to her husband.
She's excused because of grieving. Yes. All right. At this time, we're going to move on down the agenda. We don't have our flag here with us, but we can salute the flag as a matter of protocol. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We're going to move on down the agenda. And the next item on the agenda is the approval of some minutes that we have from September the 8th, which was a work session, September 16th, which was a town meeting, October 13th, which was a work session, and November 10th, which was a work session. As everyone had the opportunity to review your minutes, and so that we can get these approved, because this is our last meeting of the year.
Mayor Martin.
Uh-huh.
I did not go over the October 13th minutes because on the agenda it has September 8th and 16th. The November minutes said that we're going to be amending those with corrections. And I'd also like to do the same with the work session, I'm sorry, the town hall meeting for September 16th.
Mm-hmm.
Down at the Miss Tucker on the third page, where they are talking about the removal of Councilmember Wood Dotson. And in that, I asked you to refer to the executive session meetings when the attorney was available or there attending the meeting. Because up further, Mayor Martin did say that it was done at a special meeting, but I want to make that amendment. And Mayor Martin, if we could move down, let me grab October 13th minutes just to refresh myself before we approve those minutes. Can we do that real quick? Let me
Okay.
just grab it and refresh, because I didn't go over those. Just let me refresh myself with those minutes real quickly. So if we want to move down to the other reports and then come back to those minutes, we can get
Come
those.
back, please remind me to come back to those so we can get those approved.
Yeah.
Because we can't approve with the corrections,
Right. So let me pull them out and go over them really quickly.
okay? All
Mhm.
right, we're going to continue on down the agenda. And our next item on the agenda is a summary from Lieutenant Ivy. Lieutenant, are you on the line?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm ready.
okay.
November report for 2020. Activities, the Fairmount Heights Police Department totaled 280 calls for service, with a difference of 265 calls for service for the month of October. A citizen armed robbery occurred at the intersection of 57th Place and Eastern Avenue. The victim was robbed of her purse with her personal belongings that were taken, and the suspects fled on foot into DC. No report of injury to the victim. A later armed carjacking, excuse me, in the area of 60th Place and Eastern Avenue occurred during a pursuit. The vehicle became disabled and the suspects fled on foot. The suspects then entered a second carjacked vehicle, which fled into DC. The vehicle was pursued, which came to a stop in DC area. A brief foot pursuit occurred and apprehension was made of 3 suspects. While the crime scene was being secured, officers were approached by an individual claiming he was the victim of a robbery. Through further investigation, he was identified as one of the suspects that fled from one of the carjacked vehicles. And he was also the brother of one of the 3 suspects. This defendant was then transported for investigation. Defendant number 4 then implicated defendant number 1, 2, and 3 in the armed robbery as well. So all of them were apprehended, and the defendant had told on the rest of the suspects that were involved in it with him. On further updates, the public safety meeting with Chair Councilwoman Patricia Walker, Lieutenant Ivy. That meeting was with Patricia Walker. Next, Lieutenant Ivy is obtaining flood lighting from Prince George's County government. The lighting will help curtail hotspot areas within the town. How many and how long will be the determining factor for now. The Reserve Officer Program is moving successfully. Reserve officers to help combat any and all crimes assigned by staff, respond to crime scenes, prepare written reports, interview victims, and any suspect of committing any offense of any crime. Also to enforce state and local criminal laws, traffic laws, as well as city ordinances. They will also assist to be able to conduct high visibility, patrol in town, and to curb crime. They'll be able to support community policing, meeting with community members, and business owners to help execute plans of action to deter crime issues. All of the departmental vehicles were taken for emissions testing, and also winter maintenance was conducted on them. Felony screening with the state's attorney's office on arrest cases for the month that were completed. Town Attorney Jason Deloach and Lieutenant Ivy working with law enforcement agencies on investigation information. A meeting to be set with legit local government insurance trusts on investigative information and personnel files. The area patrols, the Prince George's County Police continues to assist Fairmount Heights Police Department with local patrolling. Patrol procedures took another heightened awareness with the COVID in effect when everybody went to phase 1 and is operating on a signal 26 in reference to that. All officers was to use extreme caution and safety preparedness while entering homes to deter any crime scene that would need to be investigated. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you very much, Lieutenant Ivy. And I think you're going to stay on the line, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much. The next report is from Mr. Pinckney for Code Enforcement. Mr. Pinckney, are you online? Mr. Pinckney is okay. Maybe he'll come on. He might be having trouble getting on, but we'll come back to his report. Do we have a report from Mrs. Walker? Anyone have her report? Okay. All right, Ms. Sarumi, are you online?
Yes, I'm
Mr.
online.
All right,
Yes.
Mr. You might as well go on and proceed, Ms. Sarumi.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, Mayor, Council, and all of our virtual guests. This is my report from the town manager for the period ending December 8th, 2020. In terms of administrative matters, I've been working with other staff and some council members so we can prepare and develop a workplace policy for COVID-19 workplace. Although we may follow the county, it's essential that each municipality have their own policy to follow for COVID-19. I want to start with our Public Works Department. The reason I'm starting with the department is because we're having this meeting and what we anticipated to be a snow or inclement weather event. I worked with Council Member Jacqueline Morgan, who is the Council Member Liaison for Public Works, to put in place a snow removal and inclement weather plan for today. I'm going to give you a few pointers as to what we did, especially in terms of getting this in place so the town would have service today for snow removal. On December 15th, that was yesterday, I work with contact one of our resources through Councilmember Morgan. We contact Tracy Douglas. The town has used the services before. We contacted him to provide some training for the CDL for Mr. McKinley Hill. Mr. Douglas, within an hour, had installed the town snowplower, the snowplow, and the salt spreader on our new utility truck. And I really thank him. I felt great when he drove by and everything was in place for the day. Also on yesterday, I interviewed Mr. Dino Sawyer. Mr. Sawyer is the driver of our trash truck, and he holds a CDL license. I interviewed him because number one, we needed to have drive in place who would have some skill set as to how to operate the snowplow and the spreader. We also developed, yesterday, we developed a scope of work for the public works staff to follow today. We also had a meeting with the public works staff in preparation for the weather event that was anticipated for today. I would like to say to the staff and to the council, the staff and Mr. Sawyer reported to work this morning at 7 a.m., ready and able to work and prepare for our emergency snow removal. We had one glitch to work out, and that was the contact person at the county facility for salt. And I'm sure we'll get that worked out. I want to thank Councilmember Morgan. I also consulted with Councilmember Hargrove and the public works staff in putting together this plan. This is a very important note, and I'm going to send you my report for mayor and council and for any administrative staff. Please note, mayor and council, the above steps by no means imply that the town's procurement policy to hire a contractor or contract services is bypassed. So I'm hoping that you take the draft that I prepared and develop it and send it on to Ms. Walker, who's in charge of procurement, so we can properly procure the services. However, we must and had to have something in place for today. Stormwater runoff and water problems throughout the town. I'm sure most of you now have recognized that the town of Fairmount Heights, we have huge water problems. Some stormwater runoffs, others, it seems that there are underground springs or conditions that exist. Bear in mind, running through the town is part of the Anacostia watersheds, which is Nash Run. So, although Ms. Goodall's no longer here, through Mrs. Goodall's assistance, I was able to contact Prime.
About the water, please.
Pardon me? I was able to contact Prime A&E. They are an engineering firm out of Baltimore. They are the engineering firm that conduct water studies for WSSC and for the county. A&E started their work on doing the survey on December 10th, 2020. I want to thank them for their great work. And not only did they work with me, they worked with Mr. Pinckney. I am exploring both the Department of the Environment at the federal level and at the state level to identify resources and finance that will be available to assist with this project. Usually projects of this size require millions and millions of dollars. And I can't say enough that retrofit system that was put in the ravine is certainly valued over $1 million worth of resources brought to the town. So I would like to continue doing, we will continue doing that as soon as I get feedback, and we will probably arrange to have a meeting. Councilmember Morgan and I will probably arrange to have a session with the council to present the findings of Prime A&E. Economic community development, net zero housing. That project is, believe it or not, I know it's been a long process, but the project is moving on. Stephanie Pringle, the director of the Housing Initiative Partnership, and Kieran Vail, the construction engineer, is requesting work permits to dig or to tear up our street at 61st Place. And that is necessary in order to connect water lines and other utilities to those new houses, the 6 houses that's going to be built. Mr. Payne and I have been researching your current ordinances to see if there is such an ordinance for permits for streets. I couldn't find anything. That's not to say that it's not, but I'll continue to look. I've also recommended to Mr. Pinckney to contact Prince George's County, Department of Public Works, and the Environment to see what kind of ordinances they could give us some guidance on ordinances, or we can check with other towns. Also, United Communities Against Poverty, UCAP, is moving forward with a proposed plans to develop the property at 711 Eastern Avenue, formerly known as Melvin's Crab House. Mayor Martin, I need you to check to see if we got any announcements or any notices from Maryland National Capital Park and Planning on where we are in the planning process. If not, I will contact the Department of Planning.
Yes, because we haven't received anything.
You have not?
No.
Okay, good. I mean, I'm not gonna say good. I will check and follow up.
Okay.
I got a call from UCAP, so apparently that they're moving forward with their plans. So there's still opportunity for input by the town and by the citizens and by elected officials. The Green Team, due to COVID-19, the Green Team will not be meeting until January. Can you see me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Something else just popped on my screen. Okay.
Okay.
Due to COVID-19, the Green Team will not be meeting until January 2021. The Anacostia Watershed Society, AWS, partnered with the town to install a green mulch path, and they did plant additional trees and shrubs. We are looking, or working with Councilman Waiters and I, we are looking for additional funding and resources to further improve the ravine and the paths. Upcoming grants, I don't have a lot in terms of upcoming grants, other than the Maryland African American Historic Preservation Commission announced the availability of their grants for 2021. Let me see. Okay, I think that concludes my report as to where we are for the month of where we've been for the month of November and where we are for the month of December. Everybody make sure you stay safe and have a wonderful holiday.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Sarumi. At this time, I would like to read a statement.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Gray.
No, it's Mr. Pinckney.
Mr. Pinckney. Oh, all right,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Pinckney, you can proceed, Mr. Pinckney.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I was on, but I was able to hear Lieutenant Ives' report, but I wasn't able to come on at that particular time. But this is about a report from November the 5th up until December the 26th. It's a summary report for the Code Enforcement Department. Okay, during this period, we've issued the following building permits. The first one was to Mrs. Annie Wilder at 5509 Addison Road to do an overhead porch for $259.38. The second was for Miss Keona Simmons for the house that burnt down at 5604 Cole Street. I remember Councilman Morgan was concerned about that house, but we were able to issue her a building permit for $290. And Long Fence, they received a permit for 5726 Cove Street for $133. And Mr. Edward Jordan, I think Councilman Jacqueline Dawson was concerned about the house at 723 60th Avenue. They're in the process of fixing the house up, and they received a permit for $160 to do interior renovations and to reestablish that rear back porch. Also, during this period, we received vacant building fees from the following, and that was Trendo Marboba for 706 60th Avenue for $200. Mrs. Wanda Jordan for 723 60th Avenue for $400. That was before they applied for the building permit. And Mrs. Ann B. Brown for 5806 L Street for $600. And U.S. Bank for 721 58th Avenue for $200. The contract to repair the curb at 714 62nd Avenue was awarded to T&B Capital LLC. They told me when they started, they would give us a notice. And the treasurer, Mrs. Walker, said once they started, she would have their payment ready that day after the work has been approved. During this period, I have placed stop work orders on the following properties. And that was 5608 Cove Street for a deck, 5726 Cove Street for a fence, and 708 6th Avenue. They were building that building. Also, along with that, Inspector Juan Swan, he put a stop work order from the county because they had started the work without having a proper county permit, and they hadn't put in a sprinkler system in that property. So that he's given them 30 days to acquire all the correct building permits, and I think they agreed to do that. And the owner of the lot at 6109 and a half Cove Street, Mr. Willie Williams, he's cleaned that lot. We had a lot of complaints about that little lot because the neighbors were saying they had snakes out the lot, and they was kind of worried about that, but they were able to get out there and clean out that lot. And last week I was able to, I think Mr. Ruma just touched on it, I was able to accompany Prime surveying team to 817 Eastern Avenue to look at the water in that gravel path, and they stated that was the worst place, the worst area that they had observed. And also, Mrs. Walker and I, she had sent, we had discussed drafting a letter to the vacant building owners, and Mrs. Walker sent me a draft, and a draft letter that we're going to try to get it sent out to the public before January 1. And this is the draft, and it says property owners 123 Anywhere Avenue, Fairmount Heights, Maryland. And it says, dear owners so-and-so, as of the vacant property located at 120 Anywhere Avenue, you are required to register your property biannually with the town of Fairmount Heights per ordinance 16-02, sections 307-1 through 307-6, property maintenance code dated March the 20th, 2002. Properties that are vacant after 60 days, the biannual registration fee is $200 every 6 months. Prior to the date of this letter, the town of Fairmount Heights did not inform the $200 biannual registration fee. Effective January 1, 2021, the town will begin enforcing ordinance 16-02 1602, section 307-1 through 307-6. The town will not retroactively bill property owners for prior year's registration fees. However, moving forward, all fees will be assessed in full. At the date of this letter, your property has been vacant for over 2 years. Per the vacant building application registration form, the fee shall be doubled if the period of vacancy exceeds 2 years for any reason. Therefore, as of January 1, 2021, per ordinance 1602, you will be required to register your property biannually every 6 months and pay the required registration fee. Please maintain an enclosed copy of the town's vacant property registration ordinance 1602, sections 307-1 to 307-6 for future references. And that's basically the end of my report for the summary for November the 5th up until today.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Pinckney. In reference to 714 62nd Avenue, have they received the letter letting them know exactly when that work will begin there?
No, I just called the owner, Ms. Karen, and told her that Ms. Walker had approved, well, the town had approved them to start the work. And she said she would let me know when they started, but I didn't know they needed the letter. But I can get that from Mrs. Walker if that is necessary. But if that's
Well,
the date
if you would, I think, yes, okay. If they haven't started, if you would send them a letter, that would be appreciated. Send the letter to Mr. Jackson possibly. So I think he might have come to the building and left a note, huh?
I stopped by and told Mr. Jackson that it had been awarded.
Oh, okay.
We were just waiting for them to start, but I didn't send anything to T&B LLC.
Okay.
I'm 2&B Capital. I called her that night after I talked to Mrs. Walker, just to inform that I'd been awarded the contract.
Okay. All right. Well,
and also another thing I'd like to mention before I'm gone. Inspector Swan, he had visited the property at 613 61st Avenue because Councilman Hargrove said his pictures showed whether it was like a raging river coming out of that property. And he told me that he had assessed them another $3,000 fine. And he also assessed the owners of the old Charity Hall a $3,000 fine.
okay.
Because they hadn't submitted the proper I think they were going to try to build a assisted living house there.
Okay.
But he put a stop on that. But he gave them another $3,000 fine for that.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And that's
Okay.
basically it. Okay.
Well, all right. Thank you very much, Mr. Pinckney, for that
Yes,
information. Council members, yes. Thank you. Council members, were there any questions before we move along from the updates?
I have questions, Madam Mayor, Councilmember Waiters.
Yes.
Concerning the treasurer's report, we did not get one. And there was one pending the COVID expense that should have came with that report.
Yes, I left a message for the treasurer. Now, I thought possibly she would have, the last time she sent her reports by someone, I didn't receive it yet. So as soon as we receive it, I'll make sure it's passed along to you.
Mayor Martin. If you want to, I did go over the work sessions for October 13th. If you want to approve the minutes with.
I'm sorry, Councilmember, I was not done with.
Well, you took a break. She answered. You're more than welcome to finish. You're more than welcome to finish. I thought you were completed. I wanted her to know that I had reviewed.
Madam Mayor, do I have the floor?
You have the floor, Councilmember Waiters.
Okay. So you were saying about COVID?
What I was saying is that I do not have the report that came from the treasurer. I'm quite sure she will have it prepared now. Make sure it's distributed to everyone, even if we have to scan it in.
So my question is, did we expense the money that was pending?
Well, see, that's the information. I'm going to need that information from her, and I will pass that question directly along. I know that the reports, the CARES Act reports went in, I think it was on the 15th, which was yesterday. So she can tell us exactly what was submitted I don't want to go out on the limb and say what was submitted and what wasn't submitted. So I'll get that report and I'll pass it along.
Okay, and so you don't have a copy of the treasurer's report as well for the month?
I don't have it. I don't have it.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, is that it for you, Councilmember Waiters?
It is for now.
All right, Councilmember Hargrove,
Yes, I did.
Councilmember Hargrove.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
I did review the minutes for the work session for October 13th. And if you wanted to go back over and approve those minutes, I'm fine with that.
Great, let's do that. So at this time, we're going to move back up the agenda to our approval of the minutes for September 8th, 2020, September 16th, 2020, and October 13th and November 10th. At this time, I will accept a motion for approval of those sets.
Okay. I make the
Madam Mayor, I don't have October minutes before me.
Did you receive those in your box?
I did not get them from my box. No, I did not.
Mrs. Tucker?
Did you get, I sent them by email.
1 second. You can proceed with the other minutes until I pull those up.
Okay, what we'll do is, Councilmember Hargrove, would you please begin your motion for the minutes from September the 8th, September 16th, and November 10th? I'll accept the motion for those three.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the work session minutes for September 8th, town hall meeting for September 16th. Those with the amendments that I told you about earlier, Ms. Tucker, and also we'll approve the minutes for November 10th with the amendments being made with corrections.
Okay. Can I get
Madam
a
Chair,
second?
Madam Chair, before you go for discussion, for the sake of discussion, I'm sorry, and clarity. I was having difficulty logging on. As you're aware, I called you a couple of times. So whatever those amendments were in the minutes, I'm not aware of them. So can you restate those, please?
Those amendments were given by Councilmember. I don't think we were even recording when that happened. Councilmember Hargrove, were we recording or we just waiting for everyone to come on?
I'll go back over the minutes that we have, and like you said, the ones from November, Ms. Tucker has those. On Wednesday, September 16th, the town hall meeting, Ms. Tucker on the third page, where
Yes.
Councilmember Waiters responded to the removal of Councilmember Dotson. And I said that was done, and I asked you about the minutes that were done in the executive session, and I'm asking that you add that on there where we refer back to the executive session meeting when the attorney was there. And also, if you go further up in the minutes, you'll see where Mayor Martin had mentioned that that was done at a special meeting. So that was the amendment for the September 16th work session minutes.
Okay, Councilmember Waiters, did you get that information?
I did get that information. Can I respond?
Yes.
Okay, so that can be added to the September minutes. But the reference to the executive session, this was not an executive session meeting. If it was a special meeting, then there should be minutes to reflect the date and the vote that was taken to remove. So this is, the minutes were accepted, just accepted. We're voting on these minutes and it is written. So Councilmember Hargrove's indication that something is missing is fine. I just want to reflect that my reference here to what I am talking about is an ongoing, it's unfinished business that has not been resolved.
Madam Mayor, when she finished, can I respond?
Councilmember Waiters, have you finished on that part of what you wanted to say concerning that?
Yeah, I pretty much, yes. I just want to make certain that I want to be clear on the amendment that Councilmember is asking for because it's not there and I did not hear it. And so I am making reference also to that is there, that it is not excluded. And I'm making reference also that it is unfinished business.
Okay. So, Mrs. Tucker, did you get that information? Make it a matter of
I-
record? You have it?
I will talk with Councilmember Hargrove later because I'm not totally clear about the executive session because
I gave them to, Madam, I gave them to you twice, but that's fine. I'll give them to you again. The minutes, actually, you put them in a envelope and you put them in the, in your books for the minutes.
are
But
you,
we can go back over that, and so you can have that attached. But, you know, we keep going over, and Ms. Tucker, is that all you needed from me before I go back and respond?
yes, yes.
Okay. They keep saying that this wasn't done correctly. Madam Mayor, it's been a year, just about a year. You've given Councilmember Dotson the votes to, how she was removed, who voted for what. We keep going over that. Councilmember Waiters keeps saying that it wasn't done correctly. When we took that vote to have Councilmember Dotson removed, Councilmember Waiters wanted to also remove her duties, and we did not vote on that. So to keep going over the same thing, saying that we didn't do it correctly, that's fine, you can say that. But then we also went over it in executive session, and it was redone. So to keep bringing this up and beating a dead horse, it's about time to put that to rest. She had the votes to who voted what and how that was done. So it's, you know, I'm just approving the minutes, and to keep saying things like that and not putting it out there truthfully is not correct. And it needs to come to a stop.
Madam Mayor, may I
Okay.
respond?
Uh,
May I respond?
Council member, did you want to make, okay, because we still have a motion on the floor.
There is a motion on the floor and we're still in discussion. So I'm going to say this, Madam Mayor, in response to what Councilmember Hargrove just said. I'm not disputing anything other than you keep making reference to this meeting, special meeting. We record decisions. And this decision should have been recorded. Therefore, the decision to remove Councilmember Dotson would have had to be taken place first. You presented the vote that was taken to replace her, not the vote to remove her. Substantially, the reason given, and I can present the letter, the reason given for removing her is not reflective to removal because our organizational meetings take place during, after the second, I believe it is Monday, which reads the charter. There's nothing that says that we revisit that. Okay, if there was a reason to remove Councilmember Dotson from this seat, where is it written? What was written is 3 consecutive meetings, unexcused. She did not disqualify, that did not disqualify her. Now I will pull the letter up. While I pull the letter up, this will take place further discussion while I pull the letter up that was given to her for the explanation. It does not justify her removal. So it's not a dead horse. It's not beating a dead horse. It's for clarity. It has not been resolved. And so because it has not been resolved, you have to remove someone from a seat before you replace them. And they can bring back that I put my name in. Yes, I did. I did put my name in. That has nothing to do with the removal. I'm still saying, and if Councilmember Dotson was on the line, I wouldn't have to say all this because she's the one that's asking for the resolve, not me. She's asking for the resolve. And again, contrary to what you say, both the minutes in place, I'm not stopping the minutes. I am only pointing out in the minutes that we're getting ready to approve, there's unfinished business.
Okay. So as far as the discussion part of this, I'm ready to get the second on this so we can get these minutes approved and any issues that we have to resolve concerning this, because we don't have Councilmember Dotson here and we don't have all the notes and everything that go along with that whole discussion. So this might have to happen at some other time, some other place. I really do believe that. So right now I'm interested in trying to get those minutes approved, and it's gonna, we've already said they're gonna be with corrections, because I think there was some discussion about October 13th, and I don't know what else. So I want to get these approved with corrections. So can I get a second?
I second the
I give a
motion
second.
to approve the minutes for the month of October, work session town. September, work session town. November, pending adjustments or
Well, yeah, we said corrections, so that's
correction.
adjustment.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I have the second. We have the second. It's been properly moved and seconded that those sets of minutes be approved. If there are no other questions on the minutes, Mrs. Tucker, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Hargrove,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris,
Yes.
and Councilmember Waiters.
Yes.
Thank you very much. The yeses, the ayes have it. Any nays? No nays. Those sets are approved, and there will be corrections made at the appropriate time. So, Mrs. Tucker, I'm going to look to get those resolved as soon as possible. I'm going to continue on down the agenda. I have a community address that's been written, and I want this to be a matter of record. I want to read it directly as I've written it. It says, "Greetings, citizens and friends of our historically significant town of Fairmount Heights. As 2020 comes to a close, I greet you with a heart full of thankfulness. We have been hit with the hardest blows ever to be experienced in my complete lifetime. I have spent close to 30 years filled with hard work and sacrifice here in the town of Fairmount Heights, and these are the times that test men's or women's souls. Just talking candidly about the state of town business, number one, we have been hit back to back with 3 cases of COVID-19 within our town, and that's only in the government area and in public works. We have 1 employee who has returned to work with the clearance from their physician, and 2 more headed on the road to healing. Public works was hit especially hard with 2 cases, which caused us to use our previous contractor, which is Greyhound Trash, to keep our town clean and functioning properly. As of Tuesday, December 15th, our public works employees have all been retested and cleared to return to work. Plans are now being formulated to address many of the complaints that were reported during our testing and retesting process. And that was the whole issue of us not communicating. Leaves are being picked up now and disposed of, and street sweeping is on the direct agenda as soon as we get clear days. Number 2, we have not had the capacity to communicate as often as we desired because our total building had to be re-cleaned and all of our vehicles had to be re-cleaned and set back up for business. Our employees who had close contact with the positive cases have to spend 14 days out of the building and be tested twice. We hope to be able to move forward with all negative COVID results from here on in and on into the future. We're hoping and praying that this will happen. Our employees have been paid continuously, and hazard pay has been provided from the CARES Act. The overall welfare of our town is operating in the black. All of our bills are current and done on a timely schedule. All of our calls for service since the pandemic have been handled through our town clerk and forwarded to each department for swift responses. It has been difficult to maintain a good level of government, but it has happened. Number 4, we have developed a COVID plan that will be used to determine our day-to-day operations. This plan has been forwarded to the council by the town manager and will be reviewed and will become a matter of law within our town. Number 5, as this year closes, I feel grateful and gratified that our Ethics Commission will now be a reality within our town. 3 members of our community have stepped forward to assist in filling the slots that have been so desperately needed. Those members of our community have volunteered their time and service, and I look forward to their input as they help us move into the future. Number 6, we stand poised to enter 2021 within a few weeks. And because of the raging of COVID-19, we have no guarantees. We stand ready to use the best skills and knowledge to accomplish greater strides for our town of Fairmount Heights, but each person has a part to play. COVID testing centers are now available at the majority of the CVS's, the Prince George's County Health Department, and private physician's office. Let us all do our part, remain safe, and treat our neighbors as we would desire to be treated. We can yet still rise together. We need each other to survive. Happy holidays to all, and continue to be cautious and safe. Yours in historic service, Lily Thompson Martin. I wrote this so that this could be read in this particular meeting, and this will be running on our TV station also. So I want to thank everyone for your patience and your time in listening to the things that I had written. I want to move down to new business, and the first item under our new business is a resolution. It's resolution FHR-10-2020. And at this time, Mrs. Tucker, would you read this resolution again into the record so that we can get this approved?
Resolution FHR 10-2020. A resolution adopting a litter-free Fairmount Heights campaign. Whereas the town of Fairmount Heights is a sustainable Maryland community and is seeking to become Sustainable Maryland certified. And whereas the town has created a green team, and whereas the green team is partnering with the Anacostia Watershed Society, AWS, and other stakeholders to implement a watershed stewardship program that will focus on pollution prevention, provide voluntary opportunities for citizens, and provide incentives on private-owned land within the town. Whereas the town of Fairmount Heights is located within the Anacostia watershed and the Beaver Dam Creek sub-watershed, and whereas the Prince George's County Annual Cleanup Green Up, the annual Earth Day celebrations, and citizen complaints identified dumping and litter throughout the town. And whereas the town's Public Works Department, the Code Enforcement Officer, and the town manager have also identified litter, trash, and dumping throughout the town. Now therefore be it resolved that the town adopts a litter-free Fairmount Heights campaign. Be it further resolved that the mayor and the council of the town of Fairmount Heights is committed to taking the necessary steps to ensure that historic Fairmount Heights is litter-free, and that the town takes the necessary steps to protect the Anacostia watershed and the Beaver Dam sub-watershed and the Nash Run tributary. This resolution is adopted by the Council of Fairmount Heights.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Tucker. This resolution, once we are finished and finalized with it, because of the fact that we're doing a Zoom, we'll have to leave it and make it available in the conference room so that everyone can sign it. So at this time, I will accept the motion for approval of resolution FHR 10-2020.
So moved.
I get a second on that.
Second.
It's properly moved and seconded that we approve resolution FHR 10-2020. Are there any questions on the motion? If there are no questions, Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Hargrove,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris,
Yes.
and Councilmember Waiters.
Yes.
Thank you very much. The ayes have it. Any nays? No nays. This resolution has been approved. So we'll get this signed off hopefully before the week is out and make it a matter of record. Thank you all very much. There is an item here on the Pepco charging station. I'm not going to talk too much about the charging station tonight, but I want to let everyone know that in our work session, in case you weren't listening, the council did vote to approve the Pepco charging station, and we'll begin to work with Mr. Tony Ruffin to make that charging station a reality. It will make us one of the communities within this area that has bought into the program offered by Pepco so that we can have an electric charging station here in the town. And not saying that it will be of usage right away to all of us. We might not have electric cars, but the future is coming. And there will be a lot of electric cars that'll be running around, and they're going to need some place to be charged. So I think I was happy that that's been approved. We can move forward. And before you know it, it'll become a reality. So I wanted to just say thanks for that. And at this time, we're going to move down the agenda. And on our agenda, we have the swearing in for our 3 Ethics Commission members. Members, are you on the line?
This is Pat Webb. I'm here.
Yes, Pat, thank you. Mr. Spruill, are you on the line? Mr. Sheffield, are you on the line?
Yes, Mayor, I am on the line.
Thank you, thank you. All right, we need Mr. Spruill on the line. Oh, he's here. All right, thank you. Everyone is here. All right, I'm going to begin with Ms. Webb. We have all the information prepared and the folders are in the town building. So before the week is out, whenever it's convenient, you all could come by and sign and get a copy of your certificates. But at this time, I would like to start off with Ms. Pat Webb. And Ms. Webb, would you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? Ms. Pat Webb.
Yeah, I'm here and I have my hand raised.
Yes. And please repeat after me. I, say your name.
I, Patricia Webb,
Do swear or affirm
do swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and that I will be faithful
and that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office
execute the office
of the Ethics Board for the town of Fairmount Heights,
of the Ethics Board for the town of Fairmount Heights,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of this state.
and laws of this state.
Thank you for accepting the honor. Thank you for accepting that, Ms. Patricia.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. All right, we're going to move down to Mr. Spruill, Mr. Joshua Spruill.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Mr. Spruill, would you raise your right hand and repeat after me?
My camera is frozen, but my right hand is raised.
Okay. All right, would you repeat after me? I, say your name.
I, Joshua Sproul,
do swear or affirm
do swear or affirm
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States,
and that I will be faithful
and that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office
execute the office
of Ethics Commission
of Ethics Commission
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of this state.
and laws of this state.
Consider yourself duly sworn. Thank you for volunteering. I appreciate that so much. Thank
ma'am.
you. Yes, yes. All right, Mr. Sheffield, would you please come forward?
Yes.
All right, are you on, Mr. Sheffield?
Yes.
All right. Would you raise your right hand? And repeat after me. I, say your name,
I, Edmund Sheffield,
do swear or affirm
do swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States,
and that I will be faithful
and I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
and to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office
execute the office
the town's Ethics Commission
of the town's Ethics Commission
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of this state.
and the laws of this state.
And thank you so much. Consider yourself sworn. Consider yourself sworn.
All right.
Yes. I want to say thank you so sincerely to all three of the members. You all have really stepped up and it makes my heart glad. And I'm quite sure the town is going to be happy to have you. It's been a journey. It's been a journey, but we're only just beginning. And we will have the opportunity whereas we can start the training and you all can, get together and come up with your whole system and we'll make it work. It's going to be great for the town. And from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. Let's give them all some applause, everyone. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for volunteering.
Yes,
Yes.
congratulations.
Yes, yes. It's so much appreciated. All right, we're going to move down to, we only have a few more items and we'll get to citizen participation. But I wanted to just say a few things that I'm not going to talk that much because I did the other conversation to the community. I wanted to talk a little bit in my little update concerning the veterans program that we had around the monument it was actually on Veterans Day. It was very well attended. I think it had really close to 15 people, which is quite a few for a time like this, when the pandemic, but it was something that was organized from Mr. Graves. He's one of the community organizers, and he goes from Fairmount Heights to Sea Pleasant to Glenard, the historically Black towns, to celebrate Veterans Day, and he lays a wreath out. So regardless of whether our program was large this time, he said, Mayor, I still want to do it. So it was well thought out, and people showed up even in the rain. They brought all of their umbrellas just to commemorate our veterans. So I thought that was wonderful. And I know he doesn't really ask for any kind of recognition, but I wanted to say thank you to him, and I wanted to put it in the record as a matter of thanks for what he did for the town. And another item that I wanted to mention was Mr. Butler on 62nd Avenue. He came around to the town when we were giving out the food boxes, and he said, you know, I think I have a large plant that's going to be wonderful down here at the town hall because it's outgrown my home. Well, he has a lot of tall plants, but this one, he said, I want to share it with the town. So Mac and the Public Works crew, they went and got the plants and they set them up in the front, right there in the flower bin. So look forward to seeing some beautiful blossoms growing on up to the sky as soon as the weather breaks. So I wanted to say thanks to Mr. Butler for doing that, because he saw where we could make it really happen and it was going to be something beautiful, and he did it. I wanted to say thank you to him. I wanted to make that a matter of record. Okay. All right, thanks everyone. I'm not going to labor anymore on that. I'm going to move down to the council updates. Council members, did you all want to give any updates now as we move down? Council member, I'll start with Council member Waiters.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
No, you can go on and begin.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'll try to make my report brief. With the outreach, I partnered with Councilmember Wood Dodson. Councilmember Wood Dodson did dinners during the month of November for Thanksgiving. I had 20 turkeys that were donated as a board member for United Communities Against Poverty, UCAP. Those were delivered throughout the community in partnership with the dinners that were delivered. Those names were used again on Saturday. Mayor Martin, you're aware of the Adopt a Senior from District 24 that took place this past Sunday. We serviced, I think it was like 12 to 13 seniors. They received a meal from Horace and Dickie's with a $25 gift certificate. Some yards were raked, and there was an exercise program that took place at the Highland Park, the elementary school down there. And that in terms of outreach, that Councilmember Wood Dodson's not here, but that would have been part of her report. United Communities Against Poverty, the presentation for that economic development project, 711 Eastern Avenue, Melvin's Crab House. There's been conversation about that. That did come up in our meeting. I will get as much information as I can in terms of the plans. I know Mr. Rumi talked about the county, but I'm going to see if I can get something on behalf of the board that has been presented, and actually have Ms. Jameson, who's the CEO, come and speak to us directly for that project. Hold on for a second, I made some notes. I spoke before last month, I believe, about the arts and humanities efforts and the bicycle rodeo. I'm still planning that for the youth in the community. Economic development, we had our first meeting. The committee had our first meeting on the 31st of October. We've not met since then, of course, because of the pandemic and having to cancel because of those conditions, but we did have a meeting, and I'm going to kind of briefly go over the topics that we discussed. We forwarded an agenda out to the community for anyone that wanted to attend. There will be a follow-up stakeholders meeting, and we're still putting some things together. But we reviewed the mission statement and the vision statement that's already in place that appears on the website for the town of Fairmount Heights. The economic development policy appears on the website. And because there were questions about these three top items, enterprise zone, economic development policy, and the vision, we went over those, and I did point out to the committee, and we'll point out with the citizens as well, those three items are listed on our website for more information. The presentation that was created has links in it so that if I send that out, you can click to go directly to that information. We talked about the Prince George's County Sustainable Community, the Fairmount Heights boundaries, community ownership and citizen input, qualitative versus quantitative analysis of the community. And that includes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so that includes a community survey, a data collection. We need a needs assessment and feasibility studies. Questions were asked and posed for discussion then and further discussion as we plan. Where are we? Where do we want to be? And how do we get there? I did mention United Communities Against Poverty and their proposed land use for 711 Eastern Avenue. We talked about the proposed use of Fairmount Heights Elementary School. Meeting summary and discussion, we ended it with where do we go from here? In attendance was Ms. Daisy Capers, myself, Glorietta Germany, Mr. Remy attended, Ms. Syfax and Councilmember Dodson. Leaving that meeting, our action items were to draft, push the resolution that was presented, the Litter Free Fairmount Heights. Okay, to develop Eastern Avenue corridor, that was a concern of Ms. Syfax. It's ongoing work in progress. We were working with the ANC and the leadership on the district side, and so we're following up with that. We talked about the ravine, and a cityscape or beautification project that would be from the would include the ravine, the market circle, and on up to the town hall, would give us a beautyscape or cityscape for continuing on with the development that we have had in the ravine. Our focus areas are historic sites in the marketplace in Washington, right there on Eastern Avenue. That appears it's in someone's yard, right beside where the store is. Anyway, Sheriff and Addison Road, there's a marker that was placed by George Washington, and that's a concern that it be beautified and kept clean, and or that the owner does realize the significance of that marker. And then, of course, plan the stakeholders meeting. All of the information that I have presented here is in writing. I will submit this to the mayor and council as a part of our record. And our next meeting would have been scheduled for this month again, was canceled because of conditions of COVID. We do plan to meet again in the month of January, and we'll send that invitation out for our next meeting and give you more information about the stakeholders meeting. Oh, I'm sorry. And then there was one last thing that I did have. I did a letter of support. So a couple of years ago, we had a nonprofit agency meeting in the town hall under the direction and the guidance of participation with Councilmember Downing. And I was contacted to present a letter of support for a grant that they're applying for COVID risk and information. FYI, I will share this also with the council, and that concludes my report. Are there any questions?
All right. Thank you very much. Councilmember Hargrove.
Yes, I'm going to be very brief with my report. First, I would like to give some prayer and support to Councilmember Morgan. Her cousin passed away. She had surgery and then she came home and she passed away. Her funeral and viewing is going to be December 18th at Temple of Praise Church. The viewing starts at 10, the funeral following at 11. Councilmember Morgan and I also work with the Masonic Temple on Addison Road for Thanksgiving. We gave away 30 Thanksgiving baskets to members of the community, and they are going to also give away Christmas baskets to members of the community. So we use the same names that we used for Thanksgiving. As far as the 3 resolutions that we've talked about, they are ready. I will present those in the work session. Those resolutions are the Women's History Month, Juneteenth, and Black History Month. We'll have our meeting in January, and I will present those at the work session for approval at the town hall meeting. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Councilmember Morris?
Good evening, citizens. No report for this month, but I do want to send my condolences to Ms. Wood Dotson's husband, along with the 4 other residents of Fairmount Heights whose funeral programs I've actually printed this week. The COVID is real, and I just, hope everybody stays safe and follow the guidelines that have been put forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks to everyone for your reports. And what we're going to do now, we're going to move right into public participation. Citizens that are on the line, now is your time. If you would like to make a comment, please, if you could keep those comments to 2 minutes. And if you need to send any information in, it comes to our office. It goes to Ms. Tucker, and then she sends it all out to everyone who needs to get their information. As you all know, most of you know that her email address is clerk@fairmountheightsmd.gov. All right, would you please observe your 2 minutes? And I'd appreciate it very much. Any citizens on the line?
Mayor Martin?
Yes, sir, Mr. Barnhart.
Yes, how you doing this evening?
I'm good, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to just do the same as everyone else. My prayers and my condolences go to everyone that's affected by coronavirus, and the folks that have lost loved ones. We never want to hear about that in our community or anywhere else in our families. And my prayers and condolences go out to everyone.
Yeah.
My first question would be, I'm gonna try to make my 2 minutes quick. The town treasurer, can we start making it mandatory that she's a part of our meetings? Because we have citizens that has questions for her that's very important. And if she doesn't leave a report, I think that it is appropriate and it's professional to make sure that she's attending our meetings, such as Mr. Pinckney and Lieutenant Ivy and other council members and yourself. She's part of the staff and she should be a part of our meetings. We have very important questions to ask her. If she's not here, then we can't get answers for them.
All right, I will definitely pass that information along, Mr. Barnhart.
Thank you. The second one would be is Mr. Rumi. In previous meetings, she has promised to have meetings with the residents of 60th Place with HIP about these 0 homes that's supposed to be built. We haven't got any response from her or the town about meeting with the citizens about when they're going to start developing, what is the plans, and what would be the policies and things that's going to be in place about where they're going to park their trucks. There's nothing been organized about this whole project as far as the citizens that live on this street, and we have a major concern with that.
Okay.
And she promised to have that meeting with us months ago.
Yes. All right. And Mr. Rumi, are you still on the line?
Yes, I'm here to respond.
Okay.
I think every report I give you an update as to where we are in the process, and the process is moving right along, but not at the pace that we hope it would move. I mentioned earlier in my report that they're still in the stages of getting permits and figuring out the installation and connection of utilities from the street level to that. Mr. Barnhart, I have not forgotten, like everyone else, due to COVID-19 and being able to sort of set up a meeting has been difficult. Their staff members have been either out or hit hard, but I assure you, I will contact Stephanie Crostel Stephanie Prostel and Mr. Veal, so we can get such a meeting, probably a Zoom meeting such as this, and we'll get that scheduled during the month of January. But I'll keep you updated. Haven't forgotten. It's just that we keep getting delays.
I understand. I just don't want it to be a thing where as though that the building or the construction gets started and we know on the day of or the day before. I think it should be a proper notice to the citizens of when and where they're going to go ahead and start doing this project. I live right next door to it, so I see the contractors, I see the people that's coming over there looking at the property. So I mean, if they're coming out to do their surveys and do their inspections, then they're already in process to get ready to start doing things. I just think it's fair that the people on the street knows when they're going to start doing it, so we can be aware of what's going on, so we can prepare ourselves for it. I just want people to know that this project, if it was on your street next door to you, how would you feel? How would you want this to be conducted if it was you? So, and that's just how to feel on this street.
Yeah. I totally understand, Mr. Barnhart. And Councilman Waithers is still on the involved in this meeting. We had talked and had scheduled that to be part of our economic development meeting. So we will schedule that as soon as possible and certainly keep you updated. No, we have not left out the citizen involvement at all. We encourage citizen engagement. So I'll get to you as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Barnhart, this is Ms. Walker. I am on the call. I had told the mayor I had a conflict tonight. I have class and I just finished class. I've been on the call, on this call as well as class, and I was in the last town hall meeting. The council was aware that I had a conflict for tonight, but I am on the call and I was on the call earlier.
Okay.
Okay.
So it was a question that was asked to the treasurer earlier about the COVID money that was supposed to be returned back to the state. We wanted to get a account of the monies and was it returned back to the state?
So the CARES funds, the last day to spend the funds would have been yesterday. We have spent all of our funds. I have submitted all of the reimbursements. I will give a full accounting of what the funds, how the funds were spent, and that information will be made available to the citizens as well. We have until the 21st to continue to turn in reimbursement information, but I've turned in all of the information for Fairmount Heights. So we don't have funds that we will be returning, not unless they reject something that we have requested reimbursement for.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now I am going to have to unmute again because I do need to finish up my class, but I will still be on the call.
I have one last question for you before you go, and
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
What are the requirements for a individual of mayor and council to be bonded with the town?
So let me find out exactly when you say what are the requirements, what do you mean? What are the requirements?
What I mean by that is for a person to be a authorized signer to have any kind of controlling or any kind of dealings with the town taxpayers' money, what is required as far as a person to be in charge of the town's money?
So the town uses a third party, and they use another company to do the background investigations to make sure that anyone who will have any part, any control, any use of the money, any involvement, that they don't have anything in their background that the company would deem fraudulent. The company would suspect that they would be that they would not be able to properly handle the funds. The insurance company is responsible for doing the investigation to look into each person and to see if there's anything in your history that shows that you cannot be bonded. And I can't give you exact information only because I don't have the information in front of me. But the insurance company is responsible for making sure that each person that we submit their name and their information, that they go through and do the investigation to see if anything, have you previously been rejected for a bond? Have you previously had a fraud case? Have you previously had a felony? Any of those things that would keep you from being able to be the fiduciary of any funds.
Okay.
And it's
Ms.
not
Walker?
just for funding, it's to serve overall.
Gotcha.
For them to insure you, to say that they're going to insure you to be able to hold the position that you hold.
Okay, Ms. Walker, thank you so much. I appreciate you. You have a blessed day, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right, Mr. Barnhart.
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna finish, Mary. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Was there anyone else on that wanted to make a comment or offer something during citizen participation? Okay. All right, if there are no other comments, at this time, I will accept the motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
Get a second on that. Was that Councilmember Hargrove?
Yes.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn. The time is 9:02 p.m. I want to thank everyone for a very fruitful meeting and for taking your time to join us this evening and listening to what we have to say. Those parts of the speech that I did earlier will be available. It will be on the website. You can also go to YouTube to find it. Just want to let everyone know that we are here doing the business of the town, and it has not been easy, but we've been consistent about doing it. And I want to wish everyone the best of the holiday. Happy holidays to you, and remain cautious. Even though the vaccine has begun arriving ever since Monday, we won't be the first to get it, but we have to be so careful when you go to the grocery store, when you go to fill your gas tank up, anything that you do, use caution with it. And as I said earlier in my address to the community, please look out for your neighbors and love one another because we need each other to survive. Happy holidays to everyone.
And to you.
Yes,
you,
and
Elizabeth.
at this time, I will accept the motion for adjournment.
It was,
We already made the motion.
you
We
did the
just-
motion already.
Oh,
All
okay,
in
sorry
favor?
about that. All right.
All in
I
favor?
was getting interruptions because I got another call coming in. Okay, so the motion is on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The ayes have it. Thank you all so much for everything.
Any
You
nays?
all go.
For the recording, any nays?
Any nays? Yes, ma'am. All right. Thank you all so very much for your time. And
Okay.
have a good evening.
Happy holiday, everyone.
Thank you.
Happy holiday to
holiday.
you.